I'm going to be going over the coding assignment for this week. For question one, ages equals 3, 9, 23, 64, 2, 8, 28, 93. We check the array, console log, ages, and then it returns the array with the amount of elements in the array. To subtract the first element from the last element, we put ages dot length minus 1 minus ages 0. This part of the code brings back the first element of the array. This part brings back the last element of the array. And as I could see, 93 minus 3 equals 90. And then push ages.push 101 to add a new valuable to add a new element to the last to the end of the array. And then to check if it rings true, we put ages dot length minus 1. We basically do the same thing as here, but as you can see, the value changes to 98 because the new ending the new ending element is 101, and 101 minus 3 is 98. For question 1C, it asks to use a loop to iterate through the array and calculate the average age. We do a for loop, and then we sum all the ages within the element, and then we divide that by the amount of elements within the array, and it returns 36.7 rounded. And for two names, we bracket all the names within the array, and then we console log names to retrieve the names, and then it brings back the amount of elements in the array and the array itself. And for 2A, calculate the average number of letters per name within the array. We sum 0 for loop, and then we add up all the letters from each individual element, and then we get that sum, and then we divide it by the amount of elements within the array. And for 2B, it asks us to print the names with a space in between. So we put variable con equals names bracketed 0 for loop, and we do con equals to con dot concate space parentheses, not parentheses, comma names I, which brings each individual element from the array, and it prints out with a space in between. And then for 3, to retrieve the last element of the array, we put array.length minus 1. And then for 4, to retrieve the first element of an array, we put array bracketed 0. And then to make a new array, we put name length for loop, let I equal 0, I is less than names dot length, I plus plus. Name length I equals to name I dot length. What this does is that it retrieves the length of the amount of letters within each element, and then as you can see here, it retrieves 3 5 3 5 4 3, and it's SAM 3 Tommy 5. So you understand. For 6, write a loop to iterate over the name length array and calculate the sum of the elements in the array. So if we do a for loop, let I equals 0, I is less than names dot length, I plus plus, sum up all the name lengths numbers. So we're summing up this array, and it brings back 23. And then for 7, function concate n times to multiply a word with no spaces n amount of times. We do variable con equals word, for loop, let I equals 1, I is less than n, I plus plus con equals con dot concate word, return con, and then for the example, I put console log con k n times the function, and within the parameters, I put chicken 3, and then it brings back chicken, chicken, chicken. And for question A, it asks to print out the full name. So for the function, I put full name within the parameters, first name, last name, return first name, space, last name, console log, function, full name, and John Smith within the parameters, and it brings back John Smith. For question 9, function is total greater than 100. So for this function, we want to check if the array is greater than 100. If all the elements within the array added up all together equal 100. So for that, we do a for loop, and within that for loop, we put sum array, add up all the elements in the array together. And if the sum is greater than 100, we return true. If else, return false. For question 10, we want to get the average of an array. So function average of array, sum equals 0. Within the sum, we put array I, so it adds up all the individual elements within the array, and then that sum, we divide that by the amount of array elements. And for question 11, function is average of array 1 greater than average of array 2. Within the parameters, we put array 1 and array 2. If array 1 is greater than array 2, we return true, else we return false. For question 12, function will buy drink. Within the parameters, we put is hot outside and money in pocket. If is hot outside and money in pocket is greater than 1050, we return true, else return false. For the example, I put is hot outside equals true, money in pocket equals 30. These are both true, so it returns true. And console log function will buy drink. Within the parameters is hot outside, money in pocket, true. For question 13, it asks us to make our own function that solves a problem. I wanted a function that calculates profitability of a company. So to do that, we put variable company, variable net income, variable net sales. The formula for calculating the profitability of a company is net income divided by net sales, and we multiply that by 100 to get the percentage. And I don't want like extra numbers at the end of the decimal, so I rounded it to the nearest whole number. And I put an if statement so that if the ratio is greater than or equal to 20, we want to return that we do want to invest in the company. But if it's less than 20, we don't want to invest in the company. So for the example, I use Nike's numbers, and I'd put console.log profit margin ratio in Nike Incorporated. As you can see, it's the parameter, not the parameters. Yes, the parameters. The parameters of the function are company net income, net sales. So I put Nike Income Incorporated, 6,046, 21,479. And these numbers are actually pulled from the Nike 10K statement, and these numbers are supposed to be in billions. But the profit margin percentage, 28%, high profits, investing company. So everything worked out according to the code.